welcome to the third session of the Glasgow Museums Art Connections series. So in this series we're going to be looking at artworks from the Glasgow Museums collections, and we're going to be using these to inspire us to make our own creative works. So each of these sessions in the series are going to have their own theme, and today's theme is going to be out looking through a window. So if you're interested in finding out more, come along and we'll see what we're going to make. So today we're going to be focusing on the idea of looking through a window, and we have quite a few artworks to look at from the Glasgow Museums collections, and they're all from quite different time periods, and they all have quite different subject matter, but what they all use is a window or a doorway to frame their subject. The artist uses that to draw the viewer's attention to what they want the viewer to see. So we've seen how those artists used a window to tell a story, to let us see into another place or maybe even into another time. And I think this is what we're going to really try and achieve with our artwork today. So what I want you to do is I want you to close your eyes and I want you to think of a place that you can see through your window. It could be what's actually outside your window, or it could be a place you've been before, it could be a place you want to go, it could be somewhere real, it could be somewhere you've imagined. It doesn't matter, just hold the image of that place in your mind as we go and make our window artwork. So for this work we're going to need a permanent marker, we're going to need a paintbrush, we're going to need some paints, acrylic paints in a couple of different colours. We're going to need a clear piece of plastic, and we're going to need a white piece of paper. Yeah, as you can see, we're going to layer that up on top. So all you're going to need first of all though is your piece of plastic. As you can see, it's quite hard to see where it is sometimes, so we're going to put that piece of paper underneath it, just like that. But first of all, we're going to draw on our piece of paper on its own. And we're going to draw out really simply an outline of the place that I got you to imagine or to think about earlier. And you can keep this drawing really, really simple. There doesn't need to be any detail in it. And it can be as abstract, as loose a drawing as you like. You can see here I'm going for a place I would love to go, mountains and trees with snow caps, and so I'm going for the imaginary option. It's definitely not outside my window. But I'm going to keep a quite simple drawing. See, not too much detail, but that will be enough for our works. And once you're happy with your drawing, you put your piece of clear plastic over the top, and then we just want to trace over where you've drawn. And the permanent marker sometimes doesn't come out that darkly, so we'll just go over first of all with one layer and then I'm going to have a wee look at it, and then I'm going to go over it again to make sure our line's nice and dark, as you can see here. So just going to keep going over that, and as you don't need to be too precious with this, but definitely keeping it simple is what I would recommend. So there we go. That is my outline there. So what I can do now is I can take the piece of white paper out from underneath it, and I can lay that back onto my desk there. Now the first step is to turn over the piece. So it's now your drawing is backwards. So your drawing is on the back of the clear piece of plastic. And we're going to take our paint, and we're going to take our paintbrush, and we're going to start with the bit of the artwork we want to be most bright. And for me, that is going to be my snow caps. So I'm going in with the white paint. Now you really don't want to be using hardly any water with this at all, just with the paintbrush, dabbing it on. So I've got my snow caps. Next, I'm going to go for my sky, and just start block. That's a bit too white actually, a bit more yellow, and I'm going to go for a neon-y yellow for the sky, which is what I'm imagining is a bright, crispy day, but that's going to be my choices there. And now you can keep this, as you can see, really loose. You do not need to be that careful about it, just slapping the paint on the back there. Now I'm going to go for my main mountain sections, which I'm going to go for in blue, as you can see. And as I've said already, the key to this is you really do not need to be too precious about it. You can just throw the paint on with the brush and be quite expressive and experimental with it. But a bit of green for the trees, for the hill, and then I'm going to go in with my blue with a little bit more white, and just covering almost the whole of that surface. If you want something to stand out a lot, like these trees, I've left those a little bit to dry before I go over them, because that will give them a little bit of a sharper line. But really, you're not going to know what your artwork's going to look like until we turn it over anyway. So just keep going like I have here until you've pretty much covered all of the back of your piece of clear plastic. And I'm just adding a couple of extra bits of white there I think that might make it pop a little, but you can see I've pretty much covered the whole drawing now, and that's how you'll be able to see the lines later on. So now I'll be able to turn it over. Perhaps I should wait for this to dry. You can wait for this to dry if you like, but I'm very impatient, so I'm going to turn it over, and that is my finished window artwork. Thank you so much for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed it, and we also will hopefully see you at one of the Glasgow Museums very soon. Okay, bye bye.